Hello and welcome to Curry Talks. I'm Evan, and this is the show where the Curry community learns about each other. Today's guest is the new women's lacrosse coach, Kelsey Regan. She'll be talking to us about the upcoming season, her experience coaching, playing, and what brought her here. Welcome, Kelsey.
Thank you so much.
As a new coach here with only one season under your belt, may I ask why you decided to move from Mass Maritime and what brought you into Curry specifically?
Sure. So it really had to do with the opportunity. So I learned about the opportunity from one of the previous head coaches, Caitlin Roberts. She was here for many years. And she told me all about the program, the athletic department, and the impact I could make. So for me, it was really about the ability to, have a great opportunity and see the potential for the program.
Well, I'm glad you chose to come to Curry. 2 years ago, the record was 5 wins and 11 losses, whereas last year the record was 6 wins and 11 losses. With you here, it looks like you're adding a lot to the program already. How do you plan to rebuild it over the years?
Sure. So, little wins. We found ourselves with a winning season last season. I think it takes a lot of depth and growth with the team, a lot of buy-in. So, as you and I had discussed before, it's important for the girls to buy in and to really understand what the long-term goals of the program are. And so building it up takes time, right? So it takes finding the right players, getting the right people in and on the field, and also really holding each other accountable. And so for me, it's really about, again, finding the girls who want to be a part of the program and want to see its growth and potential.
Absolutely. I was also wondering, how do you plan to recruit more experienced players? What is your method of selling the school for them?
Sure. So, Curry is a school that sells itself. It's a great school. It's a great campus. It's a small community. And for us, it's really about, again, getting girls in who see the school for what it is and how much opportunity there is. And so with recruiting, again, it's finding girls who are going to make an impact on our program. So for me, I feel like it's really about finding players who I feel can come into our culture, understand what we're trying to do and trying to build, and really enjoy being on the field and being a part of our team. So that's easy for the recruiting piece. Additionally, I've been the director of recruiting for my club program for several years. I'm very comfortable talking to girls and getting them to want to enjoy and be a part of our program. And so it's really just connecting with people. If you like to talk, if you like to connect, it's definitely something that's easy and comes naturally. And again, we're looking for players who want to bring that perspective into our program.
Great. The level of play is super important in pushing the players to be better. What games do you think will push the team more, or are you excited to play any teams specifically?
Yeah, we're always trying to find teams and competitive games throughout our season. In terms of non-conference games, we have a couple that we're looking forward to. Of course, Mass Maritime being where I was previously is always a fun game. The girls buy into it a lot because, they see that as definitely a challenge and some competition there. But, we had a really competitive game versus LaSalle last season. I think there'll be a great non-conference game. With our conference games, we have both Nichols and Gordon, who were very competitive for us, and Gordon's one that we won and got into playoffs last year, so I think they're probably ready to play us again for sure.
From what I've heard and seen about your season last year, those teams should be a good match and be good for the fans to watch. Even if the outcomes of the games don't come out the way you want, how do you measure success even if you guys don't win?
Sure. So measuring success is really about, again, the team's ability to bounce back after losses. And I think a lot of that comes with finding little wins. So defensively, did we execute on defense? Did we hold them for, the full 90 seconds in lacrosse, which, teams only have 90 seconds to score. So did we run that clock down? Were we collaborative? And so I think those types of things and those little wins that we can find on the field really help us get there.
Absolutely. Now we are running out of time, but talking about success on the field even after a loss, do you have anything in specific you do to boost the morale?
Sure. So we have 3 team values. We have accountability, uplift, and effort. And so really holding our team to those values and having positive outcomes and fun practices after tough games is something that really helps us continue to grow.
Well, thank you, Coach Kelsey. We are just about out of time. It was nice talking to you to learn more about the women's lacrosse program here at the school. By the way, the first home game is Wednesday, February 26th against Dean College. Show out and support our Curry women's lacrosse team. Join me again for another episode of Curry Talks.
Hello, and welcome to Curry Talks. I'm Josh Bracken, and this is the program where the Curry community learns more about each other. Today's guest is Tom Crisafulli, a senior communications major here at Curry. He will be talking with us today about his experience with the communication internship program. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
So, since you're interested in both radio and TV, what is something you can share over the past few years that you've learned?
So the big thing is working at WMLN, just understanding how the system operates. It's not the same everywhere, but it looks familiar enough that you can go out in the real world and say, okay, I know what this is, I know what that is, because it all looks similar enough.
And because of your communications major, there is a specific communications internship certification course. What does that consist of, and how does that course help you with your first role at the Worcester Railers?
So it's a fully online class, and you kind of do it at your own pace. It's just a lot of how to act at your internship, how to kind of stand out above the other crowd, show up early, stay late, work hard, ask a lot of questions, get involved in there, and make a connection with the people.
It's very interesting. So during your time with your first internship with the Worcester Railers, which is an ECHL hockey team, what was your role and how did you accomplish it there?
I had so many jobs with the Worcester Railers. I love that internship. I was the broadcast intern. I was in charge of posting all the highlights for the game. So if someone scored a goal on Twitter, I had to clip it, caption it, post it, send it to the internet. I did intermission interviews at one point in time on the radio there at whatever radio station they were. I can't remember it right now. With the players, which was super cool to interview professional hockey athletes, write game recaps, help with game notes, credentials, just whatever Tim needed me to do, I did.
Well, it seemed like you enjoyed your time there a lot. Now, I understand you recently got another opportunity for an internship with WEEI. What was your biggest obstacle there, and how did you overcome that?
I think the biggest obstacle is just always the first day of your internship because you're nervous. I like to say that you'll never have a second first day at your internship, which is always nice to know. Just showing up, meeting the on-air hosts who I had been listening to for years now, Adam Jones, Greg Hill, Megan Onalini. Meeting them was obviously, I don't want to say starstruck because they're just people, but it's nervous to kind of introduce them, and it's a different thing to meet them in person after hearing them over the air for so long. So that was difficult, and then just the drive and the hours are a little difficult now that I'm part-time. The hours, I'd say, would be the most difficult part of my job.
And as you said, you did get a job there. So how does having the job at WEEI help you finish your senior year here at Curry?
So it's got me a foot in the door, part-time, at a place I want to work full-time, doing what I want to do full-time. I want to work at a radio station, hopefully get on air. You got to start at the ground and work your way up. I'm producing part-time now on the weekends for shows. I'm still doing PA work for Thursday morning on the Greg Hill show. So it's got my foot in the door, and it makes classes a little bit more difficult because I have to balance my time correctly, but that's the real world. I'm working 40 hours a week and going to class, so I'm a busy guy.
Well, congrats to you. Now, going back to internships, could you tell us how the internship counts for credits, like things with weekly assignments and how grades are calculated?
So you have an internship advisor. I've had two different internship advisors for both my different internships. One was Ken and one was Professor Gibbs. They both ran the course a little bit differently. Before you even go to your internship, you have to fulfill a learning contract. It's just what your goals are of that. And then that gets into your actual internship coordinator at your site. And then you have weekly assignments you have to fill out, like, hey, what are you going on? What were you doing this week? What are you doing that week? Ask a couple questions about the environment at the work site and how they deal with conflicts and stuff like that.
And for a last piece of advice, do you have any pieces of advice you would give to any students coming to Curry for a communications major?
Do that internship course as soon as you possibly can, because that's going to get you on Professor Gibbs' list. And Gibbs is always sending out emails for possible internships of opportunities that are coming up that he's got on his desk, and he's going to pass it along to you. That's just a great way to get your foot in the door at a real working place to succeed, because that's the point of going to college. You want to get a career in this field.
Well, thank you, Tom. We're just about out of time. For those in the communications major who want to learn more about internships, please feel free to reach out to Professor Gibbs. For students in other majors who want more on internships, feel free to reach out to your internship coordinator. I'm Josh Bracken. Be sure to catch me on another edition of Curry Talks. Taking care of yourself can sometimes be hard in college. Your work may overwhelm you and you may forget to give yourself the TLC you deserve. Here at Curry, we have our great wellness center at 1016 Brush Hill Road that helps students manage the stresses of college and keep them healthy. One of the services offered is the Counseling Center, which is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. They offer short and long-term individual counseling and therapy, self-help and prevention, and referrals to psychiatric evaluations. Stress toys like this help us with our wellness. Wellness is the process of becoming aware and making positive choices toward a healthy and balanced life. Another great way to help improve your mental well-being is to get some exercise. Getting into the gym is scientifically proven to increase your mental health and reduce stress and anxiety. Check out the Wellness Center page at curry.edu and search Student Life, Health and Wellness. If you need immediate help, call 617-333-2908.
The end of the semester is coming, and exams are right around the corner. We are all stressed with schoolwork. Sometimes we need to relax and take our mind off things. Music can help us escape from the real world and the stresses around you. There are many ways to listen, like on a vinyl. You need to put yourself first. Your mental health should be a priority. Take a break from your textbooks and listen to some soothing music. It can help relax you, but it can also help you focus. According to an article from Pfizer, music affects our bodies in a lot of different ways, like changing our mood, improving our memory, and helping us process information. At Curry College, there are many different ways to get involved with music. Students have access to instruments such as pianos, drums, and guitars, as well as various music classes and groups. Curry College looks to bring its students closer to their musical abilities, to get in better tune with themselves. To find out more about music at Curry, visit our website at www.curry.edu/academics.
Hello, and welcome to Curry Talks. I'm Will Gilson, and this is the show where the Curry community learns more about each other. Today's guest is Ryan Eherts. He is the offensive line coach here at Curry and got his degree from Union College while also playing football. Today, he'll be sharing his path from school to coaching and what he looks for in a player both academically and mentally. Thank you for joining the show today, Coach.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
With the team finishing 4-6 this season, would you say expectations were met?
In some ways they were, but obviously the expectation is to continue to grow, and that's what we did. Obviously there's still some goals that we need to achieve, but we're happy that we made some progress, but still ambitious to keep moving forward with this team.
It sounds like the team is making strides on the field. I see the football media team is constantly posting academic achievements just as well as athletic accomplishments. How would you say making strides in the classroom translates to success on the turf?
Yeah, and the nice thing is that everything's related, right? From the academic side of things to the athletic side of things, but even the personality stuff. So it's all connected from the guys doing well in the classroom translate to great success in the field. So one thing that we do constantly with the guys is grade checks and class checks to make sure that they're holding up their end of the bargain in the classroom to make sure that we're getting the results that we want on the field as well.
Very nice. So I want to circle back to what you mentioned before about grade checks and class checks. Mm-hmm. Could you elaborate a little more on those further for those who might not know what that means?
Yeah, so for grade checks for us, what that means is we'll call the guys on the team in and we pull up their canvas where we're able to look at what the professors have graded and see how they're doing on their assignments. You know, if they're doing well on an exam, struggling, we're able to see all that and talk to them through potential solutions if they need help. That way we're able to keep track of their grades throughout the semester. And then class checks, us coaches will go around to the classrooms to make sure that student athletes are doing what they need to do in class to be successful as well. Not only does that mean showing up on time, but also making sure that they're ready for class with their hat off, hoods off, headphones out, phones away, all that stuff we take into consideration as well.
That is a great way to keep everyone accountable. With the team GPA over 3.0 last spring, it is clear the players have bought into the system as well. When you were playing at Union, was a similar expectation the standard?
Yeah, the expectation was the same. We didn't have the same class checks, but grade checks were a staple for us as well. We'd go into the coaches' offices and they'd go through every assignment with us, and they'd make us show physical copies of our exams and our homeworks and every graded piece of work that we had.
Very nice. So it appears that the best teams all have some sort of accountability system. How do you recruit players who you know will have the mindset needed to maintain all these expectations?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. When you go and try to recruit players, you know, obviously the first thing is you look at their football abilities, but the next thing is trying to figure out who they are as a person. Get a gauge of their personality by talking to them personally, but also talking with their head coach and anyone else that might be around that we can talk to about them and learn more about them as a person.
Very interesting. That's very nice. But we just, is there any advice that you would give to a possible recruit or a prospective student looking to come to Curry College to play football?
Yeah, our biggest piece of advice would just be to keep trying to meet that standard, right? Work hard in the classroom because that says a lot about you as a person, and then keep doing the things that are making you successful on the field. You know, go to the weight room, continue practicing, going through the conditioning, doing all that stuff to uphold that standard in all phases of their life.
All right, that's very interesting. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Coach, and sharing your everything about Curry football. For those of you who want to know more about the Curry football team, their office is in the Miller Gymnasium, or you can also visit their website at Curry College Football 2024. I'm Mole Gilson. Please join me on another edition of Curry Talks.
Hello, and welcome back to Curry Talks. I'm Connor Gaudreau, and this is the show where the Curry community learns more about each other. Today's guest is Pat Kelley, the Director of Student Engagement at Curry College. He'll be talking with us today about student engagement and how you can get involved at Curry. Welcome, Pat.
Hello.
So what goes into coordinating events such as Welcome Weekend when the incoming Curry College class officially moves in?
Yeah, so big events like that, there's a lot that goes into it. I think the biggest thing is just making sure there's, the campus buy-in, making sure, the community wants that event, because I would hate to put on something that this, as students, y'all are like, this is not anything I'm interested in. So I always say, finding out what the purpose of the event is and, what the goals are and what you want students to take away from it. And then, booking the space, marketing is such a huge part of it because, if the students don't know about it, no one's going to show. And marketing, so that way it's appealing because I think of leadership conference. Doesn't sound like a fun event, but the way you market it, it's so important because then students can get excited about it depending on how you market it to them.
Absolutely. It sounds like a lot goes into planning aspects of events. You've hosted a variety throughout this semester, such as roller skating event known as Roller World. Mm-hmm. What's been your favorite so far?
Yeah, so this year, I always love the duck hunt just to see students go absolutely bonkers for finding these little rubber ducks all across campus. I know when I send the email out at 8 a.m. The minute it happens, I see students running in the student center, and I'm like, all right, the chaos, let's go, let's do it. And then we have Clubapalooza, which is our involvement fair, and like clubs will come out and meet with some students who are interested in joining a club or club sport, or even just like talk with departments like advising. And we also do like themes and giveaways, and we had a wrecking ball thing this year that students really liked, and it was fun watching.
Absolutely. Seems events put on by clubs are a main part of our student engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about the role you play overseeing our 30 clubs on campus?
Yeah, so the main thing that we do in student engagement with our clubs is we help them with their event planning. They're supposed to do at least 2 events a semester. We provide club training for the club leaders. We also help with budget management skills, and also offer any additional support. So like if a club needs help with conflict resolution, we kind of step in and help them resolve whatever is going on. And honestly, like our office, there's students in it all the time, like club leaders, and they just come to hang out and get to know what else we do in our office.
So it seems like you for sure play a major role in overseeing these clubs. How do you organize the student leadership training for club presidents?
Yeah, so we cover the basics. So we start with our club policies, like how to remain an active club, how to be a club leader, what each role for the club leaders looks like, and then we do breakout sessions, and then we kind of look back to the year before and see what areas of need were. So this year we did event planning 101, how to market your club and your events. And we also did a session on being a new club leader, because we had a lot of first-year club leaders this year. So we wanted to have a session to help empower them and make them feel confident that they can do this work, because that's always the number one thing with new club leaders.
So it sounds like a busy process.
Oh yeah.
But definitely worth it in the end. What would you say to an incoming first-year student about how they can get involved here on campus?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways. Like, even if you're not interested in joining a club, because that's not for everyone, you can, find a job on campus. You can be an orientation leader, a residence assistant.
Well, thank you, Pat.
Yeah.
We're just about out of time, but you can find more about student engagement by visiting Pat's office on the 2nd floor of the Student Center, or by booking a meeting with him. I'm Connor Gaudreau. Please join me for another edition of Curry Talks.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Curry Talks. I'm William Gilson, and this is the program where members of the Curry community learn more about each other. Today's guest is George Vonakis. He is a graduate student who is an accounting major. He is also the captain of the men's hockey team and will help us learn more about his story and what he does as a student athlete. Welcome, George.
Thank you.
I know you attended Kent School, a prep school in Connecticut. How did Curry get on your radar?
Sure. So after high school, I decided to play a couple years of junior hockey, which is where a lot of schools will go to recruit players, D3 and D1. So at that time, Curry came to a couple of my games. The coaches got in touch with me and recruited me. After weighing some options, I decided to come to Curry.
Awesome. I know you're one of the captains and have been on the team for 4 years because of COVID. How did you become a captain?
Yeah, so after every season, the returning players vote on the captains and assistant captains and for awards as well. But after that vote gets tallied up, then they decide who the captain is, and the coach announces it at our season-ending banquet.
Awesome. So we all know you had a crazy end to your season last year with the game in the NCAA tournament that went into 4 overtimes against Hobart. What was it like playing in that 4 overtime game last year against Hobart in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it was a war of attrition for sure. It was multiple guys on their team got muscle cramps and were going down left and right. It was almost funny at one point after 2 or 3 overtimes. It was after midnight. We were almost laughing because we just couldn't believe it was happening. But it was a crazy experience, but a memorable one for sure.
Very nice. So you kind of hinted at it before, but what are some memories and lessons that you learned from the game?
One memory is definitely our goalie Shane Soderwall tying the NCAA record for saves with 98, and just our trainers running around left and right getting electrolytes or mustard or whatever was needed for the players. That's definitely what stuck out to me.
Very interesting. So the hockey team typically has the highest GPA. Last spring, the hockey team had a 3.51 GPA. How and why is that good, and what exactly does it take to find that balance between work and hockey?
Right, yeah. So I would say that lends a lot to playing junior hockey, where a lot of us do that for 2 or 3 years after high school and before college. So we come in older, usually around 20 or 21. So we have that experience of living on our own for a couple of years, understanding how to manage our time and just live independently. So we don't have that, we're not going in blind to the experience coming into college. So that definitely helps a lot. We're ready to be independent and effectively manage our time. So I think that helps a lot.
How do you manage your schoolwork and hockey schedule, maintaining good grades and performing well on the ice?
Mm-hmm. I would say just get things done early. When you get work, do it. Don't leave it till the last minute, because then you can accomplish what you need to, get that work done, and then you have time for anything else that's required, hockey, meetings, anything like that. So get things done early.
Very, very smart. So for those who don't know much about hockey or haven't been to one of your games, what is your message to them?
I would say it's fun to watch. It's a blend of finesse and aggression, which is pretty rare for sports, and it's fast-paced. It's interesting, even if you don't really understand what's going on. It's fun to watch because there is a lot going on. So I would definitely say come check it out. It's a fun time, and it's the fastest sport on skates.
All right, sounds very awesome. So what position do you play?
I play forward, specifically left wing usually, and sometimes center, who is the one taking the face-offs, but I've played a couple different positions in my time.
Oh, very nice. So that's all for today's show. We will see you next time on Curry Talks. Thank you so much, George, for your time.
Thank you.
Are you looking for activities to do on campus? There are a lot of things to get involved with here on the Curry campus. Clubs are a great way to meet new people. Depending on the club, you can also add it to your resume. There are clubs for all interests. Clubs in entertainment, like the Movie Club, or Nerd Empire. Athletic clubs like Rugby Club, Golf Club, or even Equestrian Club. Diversity and activism clubs, major specific clubs, and many more. There are even clubs that will take you off campus. There are 27 different clubs on campus and 270 students in clubs. These clubs will get you out of your dorm and into the Curry community. Clubs will meet at all different hours of the day, so you can fit them into your schedule. You can find out more information about clubs on the Student Life tab of the Curry College website.
Every day, thousands of lives are changed forever by one reckless decision: drinking and driving. On average, it takes 3 to 4 beers to get a BAC of 0.08% or higher, which is over the legal limit to drive. According to the National Safety Council, in 2021, there were 46,980 deaths related to drunk driving accidents, including both victims and offenders. Alcohol intoxication is a temporary condition that can impair coordination, decision-making, impulse control, and other abilities, increasing the risk of injury. That moment when you decide to get behind the wheel after drinking, it's not just your life you're risking. It's the lives of everyone on the road. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says about 1 of 3 car accidents are caused by drunk driving. So if your blood alcohol level is too high, do not drive anywhere. Plan ahead. Designate a sober driver, use public transportation, or call a ride-sharing service. There are always safe alternatives. If you think you or a friend may have a drinking problem, call Greater Boston Addiction Centers at 844-926-3034. Stay alive. Don't drink and drive.
Hello, and welcome to Curry Talks. My name is Will Scafaris, and this is the show where members of the Curry community get to learn more about each other. Today's guest is Kyle Nolan. He is the Director of Enrollment Management Marketing here at Curry College, and is here to help us learn more about the admissions process.
Hey, Will.
Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate you having me on.
For sure. To start off with yourself, what swayed you into working for admissions here at Curry?
Yeah, well, working here is great. I'm coming up on 10 years now, so I've been here a while. But when I was in college, I was a tour guide, so I did work closely with the admission team at my alma mater. And I graduated, and I was kind of looking at what my best opportunity to get a job right away would be. Moved home. I grew up about 10, 15 minutes north of Boston, so Curry was within commutable distance. I saw they had an opening, and I applied for it, and I think everything clicked. I did well in my interview. I really connected with the staff. We had a good rapport, and that just led to a job that I've had ever since.
That sounds like fun. Seems like you have the personality for it too. I love it.
I like to think so.
Now, I'm sure academics and GPAs make up the majority of deciding to accept a student, but are there any other qualities the admissions department looks for in potential students here at Curry?
Totally. We take a completely holistic review of our applicants and our applications. As you mentioned, we definitely look at GPA if they've submitted their SAT or their ACT, although we are test optional at this point. We'll look at the rigor of the classes they've taken, progress that they've made in high school. So, maybe they started out slower, but, showed good growth and progress as their high school years went on. So we definitely look at the academic side of things, but we also want well-rounded individuals at Curry too. So involvement is huge. So if they work a part-time job, if they've completed community service, if they play a sport or an instrument, or they're part of a club or an organization, that definitely factors into the overall admission decision, but also to their merit scholarship award. So we look at everything.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I just remember when I was in high school, everyone always said, high school always matters the most at that time. So the admissions process can start as early as freshman year, or even sophomore year for some high school students. So how do you guys ensure that Curry's name is out there for students' consideration?
Yeah, so we do a lot of marketing in a lot of different ways too. We do a lot of digital marketing, whether it be advertisements on social media and different websites. We also do a lot of email communication to not only our prospective students but their families, and then what we refer to as referral sources. So that could be either an independent consultant who they're working with or their school counselor at their high school. And we'll purchase billboards, and we have printed mailing pieces that we mail home as well. That mostly comes into play when a student is in their junior or senior year of high school. We certainly have those who are very eager and begin the process during their freshman or their sophomore year, but we really start to focus in on a prospective student when they get to their junior year. That's when a lot, not all, begin their college search, and then of course senior year is when it really picks up. In the fall, it's a popular time for them to visit campus. We have a lot of recruitment events, to give them a good look at Curry. We try to involve other departments and connect them with their major or a potential club or an organization. So a lot of the marketing and recruitment is done face-to-face and in person as well. And we also have a great admission counseling staff who have a geographic territory assigned to them, and they work with all students within that territory by going to high schools and college fairs as well.
Nice. So over the past years, the country nationwide has seen a decrease in student enrollment to colleges. Has this ever been brought up as an issue to you? Excuse me. And if so, are there any adaptations you or the rest of the department has made for students?
Yeah, it totally has. It's something that we're very aware of. It is an issue facing higher education or most higher education institutions, including smaller, private, less selective schools like Curry. Each year, there are less and less 18-year-olds who are looking to continue their education at a college or a university, and especially in this area, there are so many higher ed institutions in the Boston and New England areas. So, we try to manage that by just doing everything we can, scratching and clawing to really try to recruit and enroll every student that we can. And to do that, I think you have to be forward thinking as an institution, which I do believe Curry is. A lot of the new initiatives that have started recently will certainly help. Namely,
for sure.
the Curry Commitment is one, and then we have specialized academic programs and support programs that attract students as well.
That sounds really good. Well, unfortunately, Kyle, I hate to break it to you, but we are out of time. But anyway, for those who want to understand more about the Curry Admissions Department, visit curry.edu with keyword admissions. I'm Will Scafaris, and join me again on another episode of Curry Talks.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Curry Talks, the show where we learn more about the Curry community. Today, I'm here with Fred O'Sullivan of Curry's PAL Department, and he's here to tell us how to build social connections in our community. Thanks for coming in today, Fred.
Thank you for having me.
So, my first question for you is, as a PAL professor, what are the typical groups of students that you see that form here on campus, and how does that shape a college experience?
Well, within my purview, generally I have students who would be attending the summer program. That's certainly one thing. And of late, social media seems to be a pretty big factor for incoming students. They kind of have connections prior to even being on campus. But when I look at groupings, commuter versus resident is always something, as well as any student involved in sports kind of automatically have a group that they kind of hang out with, get familiar with. Dorm life, which can sometimes go one way or the other, but that's also something that is relevant, may end up with a friend group and networking through dorms. I would say those are kind of the big money pieces. And then naturally majors also play a relevant role because you get used to seeing the same kind of crop of students in maybe a number of classes.
Yeah, do you think it's difficult for students to fit into a certain mold?
I see less of that here. I also teach at Bridgewater, and I probably see a different range of diversity there. But it takes effort across the board, right, to kind of fit in.
Right.
So I think that's something relevant that students need to recognize. The friends aren't going to just drop like pears from a tree. It takes work and effort across the board to get friendships and to build friendships and build relationships.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that with here, you said you teach here and at Bridgewater, do you think that there's a certain way that college students tend to typically speak and interact with each other?
I would say the kind of colloquialisms and idioms are pretty much across the board in terms of things. For example, 10 years ago, someone might say something is sick, where they're really saying it's wonderful or great. Things like that are pretty much uniform across the board. And language pieces, it would depend on the home that generally the student was reared in. As I said, at Bridgewater, I see a lot more English as a second language and things of that nature.
Right. And even with all this said, all the different modes and stuff like that, do you have any advice to give students who still feel like they stick out of the crowd?
Yeah, put yourself out, work on it, set goals in terms of if you're concerned about fitting in, if you're concerned about building friend networks, work towards it, and work towards it in a way where you set small, reasonable goals, and you can kind of build from there. And always ask professors, talk to staff. If you live on campus, talk to RAs. But recognize it's going to take work, and in the end, it's worthwhile.
Cool. Has there been any instances where you yourself have felt like you've stuck out like a sore thumb and not fit in?
Absolutely.
And how did you deal with that?
I think by recognizing even a thumb is part of your hand, right? It's part of the other digits, other fingers, and just recognizing, okay, you are kind of part of the whole. And where I stuck out like a sore thumb, I kind of recognize that. There's always more in common than less in common, regardless of where you are, as long as you're among humans.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you for coming in today. That seems to be all the time we have today. If you want tips on how to manage your social life and your social college experience, Fred Sullivan here is one of our professors that you can come and talk to. Thank you for coming in today, Fred. We loved having you. This has been another edition of Curry Talks.
Taking care of yourself can sometimes be hard in college. Your work may overwhelm you and you may forget to give yourself the TLC you deserve. Here at Curry, we have our great wellness center at 1016 Brush Hill Road that helps students manage the stresses of college and keep them healthy. One of the services offered is the Counseling Center, which is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. They offer short and long-term individual counseling and therapy, self-help and prevention, and referrals to psychiatric evaluations. Stress toys like this help us with our wellness. Wellness is the process of becoming aware and making positive choices toward a healthy and balanced life. Another great way to help improve your mental well-being is to get some exercise. Getting into the gym is scientifically proven to increase your mental health and reduce stress and anxiety. Check out the Wellness Center page at curry.edu and search Student Life, Health and Wellness. If you need immediate help, call 617-333-2908.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Curry Talks. I'm Ryan Pruitt and this is the show where the Curry community learns more about one another. Our guest today is Kevin Blackmur, the Associate Director for Fitness and Recreation and Sports Operations here at Curry. Kevin is here to discuss his role within Esports Lounge. Thanks for joining me today, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
With you here working on helping build club sports, athletics, and the overall community at Curry, how have you enjoyed working within Curry College?
It's been great. I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary here. I went to a small college myself, so I really appreciate that kind of community feel where people know each other, say hello, and I think it's been great to just make connections. I think the students are all hardworking, and it's been great to have that energy, enthusiasm to help me build the programs here after kind of a rough couple of years with COVID and everything going on. So it's been an uphill battle, but it's been great to be here so far.
The esports community seems to be growing after the grand opening March 19th of 2024. Curry started an esports program, and the amount of students using the lounge, which is located in the student center, continuously seems to be growing. So I ask you, Kevin, why did you get involved with Curry Esports, and how did the program come to be?
That's a great question. So I oversee fitness and recreation. Esports kind of fell under the intramurals umbrella there. My office is in the student center, so as I kind of walk around the building each time, I noticed that there was always a spot where students need to just go hang out. We had the old game room there that had a old pool table and a Pac-Man machine. It was let's just call it a little outdated. And so it wasn't getting a ton of use, it was getting some use. And kind of through my research, I try to stay up on what's going on in higher education, especially my fields. And esports kept coming up. It was one of these things where I recognized students were playing video games and they were enjoying them, but they were enjoying them in their space. And so I thought esports is a great way for us to meet students where they're at, something that they're interested in, something that they're excited about, and provide a space where it's also community side of things there. So yeah, I just kind of did my research, looked around a bunch of local colleges and universities that had them, talked to a few different companies that actually built out the spaces to see if we could make this a reality. And I got the opportunity to pitch in front of President Gonzalez. He was thrilled at the idea and gave me the green light. So that was in November of last year, and we obviously put it together in a couple months. So it was a really exciting, fast-paced project, but in the end, I'm really proud of the space, and it's great to have.
I would be too. That's very impressive. I'm glad to hear that's something you take pride in. So within Esports department, what can you tell me about your roles of the day-to-day responsibilities, and what did it take from you to get where it is to be today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, even starting from the beginning, we had to design the whole space and figure out what was how to do it, right? And that was through the collaboration of a lot of different departments. Our IT department, our buildings and grounds, procurement, the student center, just a huge group of people working together to make it happen. So once we got all that stuff in place, I was there from the start of building the tape. I built the tables, I helped put the PCs in, I researched all the stuff, I got my hands on pretty much everything in that space to make sure it's working and up to par. So what I do now with the day-to-day operations, I hired about 15 student staff to oversee the space, with us being open every day from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So my day-to-day now is checking in on them, giving them updates on what we need to do. I am in constant contact with our company that runs the platform that we use, GG Circuit, to ensure that all of our games are up and going. And then, as you can guess, with kind of a technology-based thing, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. So a lot of it is just checking on things to make sure, be preventative, and making sure that when students are using the room, they don't run into any issues.
Sounds like a lot goes into that. Well, with that, that's all we have for today, Kevin. Thank you for your time. I'm Ryan Pruitt. Thank you again, Kevin Blackmur, for joining us today in Curry Talks, and we'll see you next time.